this is the PRCI family, which I must congratulate with Ajay Kumar Agarwalji is conclave chairman, Major Rakesh Gulati, TVS Narayana, and the other members of PRCI who've organized this particular event, conclave. As we become more and more corporate in our nature of work in India, I guess every organization, whether it is private or public, needs to have its PR in place. The general perception in India is that the private organizations or the corporate companies need a PR and not the government agencies. With due respects to the ministers up here, I think we all are in need of PR. I head a central university and I know how badly in need I am of a good PR. I think all of us need that with the government of India. And as I was going through some of your papers that were submitted to me, I must confess that I was extremely pleased and impressed with the efforts that have gone into organizing this conclave and also the mandate of the conclave. I think the entire idea is how to navigate ethics. I think this is the crux of the conclave, if I am right. And if that is the mandate of the conclave, I think that should also be the mandate of the nation as well. Because I think we are badly in need of how do we navigate our ethics. You know, I'm sure all of us have heard about the disturbing incident that has occurred yesterday in Hyderabad, which has left us in shock and distress. You know, incidents of this nature are also an indication of lack of ethics in many, many ways. And I think that is where a conclave of this nature, which is, I would propose next time you must have your audience from across the board. Because I think most of you who are here, you do excel in your PR skills. But these are the skills that need to be sort of handed down to other people. You know, we need to train our people. And as I look at our country, I believe that the cultural ethos of India has been so strong in ethical values. Unfortunately, we are losing grip on that. You know, I might just give an anecdotal reference here to going back to our Upanishadic time. A young scholar, a student goes to a sage. These were the times when students sought education. You know, they would look for a good guru and ask for the training. So this young boy, when he goes to the sage and says, can I be inducted in your, ashram so that I can learn? And the guru asks him, what's your father's name? And the little boy says, I don't know what my father's name is. And the guru looks a little surprised, but he says, why don't you go and ask your mother and come back? And this little boy of 8 or 10 years, he runs to his mother to ask her as to who his father is. And the mother, very candidly, in a very simple language, she says, son, I have served in many homes and I had many masters. And therefore, I don't know who your father is. And this boy goes back to his guru and says, my mother tells me that she has served in many homes, she had many masters, and she doesn't know who my father is. And the guru looks at him and he asks, what is your mother's name? And he says, my mother's name is Jabala. And he says, from today, you will be known as Satyakam Jabala. So he renamed the boy because he had the simplicity and honesty to retell the tale, the story, which he heard, you know, the reality of his life, which his mother very candidly, very simply, and with a lot of conviction she could tell him. And he names him Satyakam Jabala. Those of us who've read the story of Satyakam Jabala would know how this honesty that impressed the guru to induct the student in his ashram and naming the boy by the mother's name is something that we still value, you know. So when we talk about ethical values, I think we also periodically need to, be very clear on our roadmap. In the global village scenario that we seem to be living, where one is talking about the blurring of boundaries, I think it should also be blurring of inequities, blurring of, the revenge motive that you find between one country and another, and the politics of rebellion. I think all these also need to be blurred. I think that is where Mark Twain, he was once traveling by a train, and when the ticket collector comes to ask him for the ticket, he starts looking in his pockets, and the ticket collector tells him, well, Mark, we all know about your integrity, and I'm sure you have the ticket somewhere in your pocket, and he walks past. But when he comes back after an hour, he finds that Mark Twain is still searching in his pockets for that ticket. And the ticket collector looks a little surprised, and he says, but sir, it's okay. I really don't need to see your ticket. I'm very sure you must have bought the ticket. And this great writer tells him, well, I'm not searching for the ticket for you, but it is for myself. I need to know where I need to get off the train. I think that is very important. All of us need to periodically review where we are going. You know, we might have boarded that train, we might know our destination, and yet we need to work on where we would like to set a new goal. You know, so it's all about setting new goals for ourselves periodically. It's all about knowing where we would like to land, how we need to plan. I think that's precisely has been the mandate of this conclave as well. If we are planning for a globalized India, we also need to plan as to how we can march ahead. Because I think 21st century, as all of us know, is known as the century of Asia, with the tiger economies at that time. I think there is a huge merit here. With these few words, I think the ministers here, I don't know, do I have a little more time or? Yeah? Public relations, as I said, is something that all of us need to cultivate. But then, let me say that India has better PR, public relations, than any other nationality, I would say. Because our culture is so full of, vinamrita that we talk about, the gentleness, which is again a part of our culture. And therefore, I think we are already there. We need to work on it a little more, because if you look at other cultures, these are the cultures that are working on their competitive spirit. Now, we need to do that without that gentleness. Whereas we have gentleness, but the edge of competitiveness is missing. So I think we need a combination of both. We have to be fiercely competitive, learn to chase our goals, set them correctly, periodically examine our goals and go for it, So that is what is required, and keeping our culture in mind, how we need to move forward is something that an organization such as this must, hand over or perhaps educate other organizations as well. Before I end, I just want to bring to your attention a small, I'm full of all these, our cultural paradigms, because we have taken a leap into a new century, but I think we are forgetting our culture. That is where I think we need to tighten our belts. And this is a small story that I must narrate to you. This is from our Bhagavatam, where King Parikshit, the grandson of Arjuna, he takes a look at his own kingdom, is trying to, set his goals very clearly, see that there are no problems. And as he is on his tour of the nation, he comes across a bull hopping on one leg. And he looks at the bull a little more closely. With great distress and depression in his heart, he approaches the bull and he says, "Oh, great one, who might you be? That you are hopping on one leg, you might be in great pain." And the bull looks at him with soulful eyes and says, "I'm Dharma. I'm King Dharmaraj," in other words. I'm Dharma. And he says, "What happened to your three legs?" And he says, "My three legs have been broken by excessive greed, lust, and anger." And he says, "What is this one leg you're still able to hop on?" Because it's possible to hop if one leg is broken, not when three are, right? So he says, "What is this one leg you're still able to hop on?" And he says, "This is the leg of honesty." Which means that we still have honesty left. And if you ask me, we can reclaim the other three legs, with honesty. And what are these other three legs that are broken? These are the legs of austerity. Austerity is simplicity, which we don't find these days, therefore broken. The leg of purity, again, hardly found anywhere. So perhaps that's the reason why. And the third leg that is broken is that of compassion. I think if we have all these three legs intact, we wouldn't have had the tragedy that we had yesterday in our city, or the country is beset with. I think it is time that we reclaim the other three legs. And who better than the intellectual leaders? Who better than our political leaders? Who better than the leaders in the corporate world who can lead the nation with good ethical values? I think with that as my last word, I must thank the organizers for inviting me. I seem to be a family. I was with them for one another function a couple of months back, and I have been reclaimed. So I'm wondering if I'm inducted in the family. Let me say I'm happy about that, but congratulations to all of you. Thank you.